Got a great question the other day, applicable really in all situations. So we thought we'd share it with all of you. The question was, should I accept a lower price for better terms? Now, what's embedded in the question is that you've already gotten your buyer or buyers to the point where, from a valuation standpoint, you probably can't push them any further, right? So the price is already there. And then let's say that you want all cash, but the buyer doesn't want to pay you all cash. The way to think about those kinds of things, like if they want some of the deal to be an earnout, like a future payment based on the performance of the business, or they want to have you take back as part of the purchase price a seller note. They're going to pay you interest either currently or in the future, and they're going to pay you back your money when they sell the company or at some specified date. Or they want you to retain equity. So all those structure items, those things that are not cash. So in this scenario, let's say, your buyer offers you 20 million or 50 million or $100 million, but they're going to give you 60% of it in cash, 20% of it in, retained equity that you won't get paid on until they sell down the road. And then, it may go up, it may go down, depends on what they do with the business, or an earnout, which you're no longer controlling the business. So maybe it performs, maybe it doesn't. People don't often get their earnouts. They don't often earn their earnouts, right? So you'd rather have cash in hand. You'd rather have the bird in the hand, okay? So in certain circumstances, depending on who your buyer is, it might make sense. If you don't have confidence in their ability to run the business and you can get, 90-95% of the money in cash up front, if you take a slightly lower number, might make sense. This is where an experienced transaction advisor is really going to help. It's also where a lawyer who knows terms and terminology is really going to help, because what you don't want to do is outsmart yourself. Your buyer, whether they're a strategic buyer that's got a corporate development person who used to be an investment banker, or a private equity firm whose associates know more about the deal business at 22 years old than you'll know after your entire career, because they've worked on more deals in the last quarter than you will in your life. You don't want to go into those conversations not knowing the terms and terminology and not really being clear. So rely on your transaction advisors here and use the paradigm for your thinking that seller's price, buyer's terms, right? So if you get your number, then it's fair for the buyer to dictate the terms. And alternatively, buyer's price, seller's terms, right? So if the buyer suggests the number, you say, okay, that would work for me, but here's the structure I want, right? Every single negotiating point, seller's price, buyer's terms, buyer's price, seller's terms. Keep going back and forth, and using that paradigm. If you've got a willing buyer and a willing seller, you'll get to the right valuation and structure. So yeah, maybe you take a lower number to get a structure you like better, or maybe you can live with the structure and you want to use that to your advantage and push for a higher number. The key thing here, though, is get some experienced advice when you're in that negotiation. Don't rely on your own negotiating skills there, because there's a whole kind of shorthand terminology that end up in the terms of your purchase agreement that you're just not going to be familiar with, and you're not going to get ChatGPT to tell you how to negotiate it. So, hope that's useful. Have a great week.